Behind the Shades.
The six type of men and the six type of women. So at the middle ground, we believe the main reason you're not getting the relationship outcome you want, trigger warning, is because you are aligned with the wrong man or the wrong woman. Who are the six type of men? Ladies, you already know them. Let's say them all together. Boys, 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 F boys, city boys, y'all favorite. Guys or dudes, males, men, either traditional or modern, and high value men. For women, we have parallels. We have girls, we have city girls, or, you know, for the streets, or the thotties, whatever you want to call them. Gals or chicks, females, women, modern or traditional, and then high value women. We find that in most instances within this space, in the two groups you're a part of, you have a lot of females, a lot of modern women, and a lot of city girls who are all dating the same type of guy. They're dating the city boy, they're dating the male, and they're upset with their relationship outcomes.
So, Glenn, let's expand on that a little bit because that is something that I would love to dig deep a little bit further. So, when you break down the groups of men and women, you mentioned high value male, and I think everyone knows what that is. It's a very small percentage of the men overall. They have a lot of money, they have a lot of status, and in a lot of cases, they're famous, but they're beneficial to everyone around them. They can make things happen. But then there's a large group of men that myself would fall into that we're not necessarily high value, but maybe we're a step above those who are at the poverty line. And
Mhm.
we're the ones traditionally who would get married the most, right? It was like, let's say middle class, upper middle class men, because
Mhm.
we would find middle class and upper middle class women. So you made an interesting point, and a point that I always like to explore is that there's a large group of women who are either dating the same type of men or in some cases actually dating the same men.
They're date. Let's not sugarcoat it. They're dating the
Yeah,
same guy. They're dating
just
the
dating the
same
same
six
guy.
guys. Mhm.
Absolutely. And then in a lot of cases, they're getting impregnated, having children with that
Mhm.
same guy.
Mhm.
How do we coach towards that group of women who are saying that I'm trying to figure it out, but that's all that's out there?
That's all that's out there. Okay, then I would say that you need to stop. So let's go back to one thing that you said, and I'll answer the question. You said for the high value man, everyone knows what that is. I will say most people do not, because at the middle ground, we don't believe that the high value man has a fame component. We take out athletes, entertainers, we take out politicians and preachers. The reason is their relationship outcome comes differently because they are famous. So everything that they get has to do with the fame and what you said, the value that they can attract from the market at a much higher rate. And most of the time, for the first two, athletes and entertainers, they're younger. And then for preachers and politicians, they're older. So that's why in that group, we take them out of high value. We add a couple of things to the high value definition. The first is character. So at the middle ground, we do not believe, and I have not never interviewed a high value man who has called himself high value or who does not have a high character, regard for self, and regard for his family and his community. So character is very high, high impact on the community. So they're out visible or they're in the background making things happen for the greater good of everyone around them. They have legacy in mind. They are 100% focused on their passion and on their programming and on their purpose. So as they look for relationships, they can only be with the high value woman because a high value woman has nothing to do with earnings. She is tied to the purpose. And everything that she does for him and for her family is to help drive the purpose. And if the purpose is not being driven, she is the first one to provide correction. That's why high value women are even more rare than high value men because they have to have that level of investment and that level of intellect and emotional intelligence to know when to push, when to pull. This is where we heard from the old school, where the man is the head and the woman was the neck. These were the women who were moving the heads of households and the heads of communities. So I always like to say, when I hear in the space, oh, he's a high value man, he's a high value man, I'm like, oh, okay. And then the third thing is from an earning standpoint, have you been earning what we would say for, as of this recording, 12,500 over a 5 to 10 year period per month? Because that means you know how to go to the market, you know how to build value, extract value back in the form of profit, and people believe that that is a favorable deal for them. Not multi-level marketing, not shady, not scamming, not skimming off the top or skimming off the sides, literally going to the market and entering into business partnerships and relationships. So let's talk about the women. So there's a much larger pool, like you talked about, of men, versions of men. I like to say for the men, what we see are three types. The first is the city boy. The city boy is the one who's charismatic, who has great conversation, who gives off great chemistry with every woman that he meets. He has swag, he has style, he's usually physically fit. If a woman is into beard, he's beard game. If he's got long dreads, he's dread game. Whatever it is, he knows he can move through the world off of those three C's. He never has the intention of having a long-term committed relationship because conquest sexually and with a number of women is his end goal. That is his Marvel's end game. So women who connect with him, he gives the best sex, best time, he's fun, he's really exciting. But when she looks for him to become a modern man or wants him to aspire to high value, he's not interested in it. And he's lived his life from his 20s all the way to his 40s that way. So why would he change today? They'll, in his mind, and this is where you see in the space, ladies, the guy, he's like, oh, there's another eight, you can't help yourself because of the three C's. So that's the first man that they love. The second is going to be the male. Males look like men, sound like men, talk like men, walk like men, appear to be men, but they could not go in the market and assert themselves positively without over aggression and build something. So the males are the ones, ladies, who live on your couch, who you have a baby with, who doesn't want to see his baby, who can't take care of his baby and can't take care of you. He drives your car. He doesn't put gas in your car. He changed the brakes on your car, baby boy reference. And he said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and I have a meeting across town, so I need your keys. He's overly emotional and cannot control his emotions. And he's very deferential to women, which is not a characteristic of men. Men understand, respect, and appreciate the women in their lives and the women that are under covering and protection. He's deferential. He's looking for his woman to make the decision so he can absolve himself of responsibility. So with the city boy, F boy, and the male, the women you talked about, that's who you guys are having babies with unplanned. And when you're getting the relationship outcome, the lack of co-parenting, a lack of understanding, a lack of support, commitment, and the lack of financial consistency, you have to ask yourself, did I make a human being with a person who wasn't qualified to be that? And I say at the middle ground, and we believe at the middle ground, that men, traditional, modern, and high value, are the men that women need to be looking at to marry, have children with, and build long-term legacy. Then the final group that women are meeting are modern men. So modern men, a lot of people have a different definition. We're very clear here at the middle ground. Modern men are okay with the modern woman's request for 50-50 partnership. She works, you said it earlier, she has her car, she has her place, she has her own going on, she got her education, she's working on her degree. She doesn't have time to be the traditional woman. She's not interested in the traditional woman. She has not trained to be a traditional woman. So expecting her to be a traditional woman is unfair for her, and it's going to be unfair for any man expecting that. And only traditional men get traditional women. Sorry, guys. So as a modern man, you're okay with the 50-50. She makes 78, I make 89. But in most cases, specifically in certain communities, she makes 89, he makes 78. So they have to put that together, make it work on a plan. So this is where you hear, and what I agree with in the space, get together with a modern man or a modern woman, make a deal and start moving towards the long-term goal. Because if you put 78 and you put 89 together, that is still more than your 78 or your 89. You guys can manage and you guys can have a similar lifestyle. And then you guys can begin to do what the terms that we hear that the ladies listening right now want. He's a partner, he's a good friend, he's a good companion, he's a good listener. I lead, he leads, da 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 da. And then that's what you get with a modern relationship. I believe we see what you talked about in the space where there are a lot of marriages. You see a lot of modern relationships just because of the financial implications of having a single single earner versus a dual income household. It just doesn't require it. So you have to do the work with it. Here's the other caveat, and this isn't a trigger warning. This is a freebie. And ladies, this is a spoiler if you get the reality stone and level up. Modern women are the ones who make the transition to high value. So if you're a modern woman and you're 50-50 and you tired and you're ready to be in your soft girl era, you need to level up and you need to get into a relationship with a man who is on his purpose and on his passion, support it, and do everything you can to make sure he stays on task.